Hey guys, Doc. So today we're going to talk about staining wood, especially on a new construction project, whether it's interior or exterior. There's a couple tips that are really important. And yes, I'm going to be nitpicky on this, but you need to be, so hold on one sec. Hey guys, so I'm out here at the farmhouse renovation project. This was an old abandoned house that we've completely stripped out, gutted, and redone. And we're at the tail end of it. Really, we're just down to mainly the interior finishes now, but it's coming along real nice. But I want to show you something. See this nice pile of lumber? That's been sitting there for a month. I'm going to talk about staining. I'm going to talk about humidity or moisture percentages on wood. I'm going to talk to you about protecting your expensive wood from workers walking on top of it. So here we go. Ooh, hey guys, so this nightmare of a staircase is actually not up to code. We're gonna have to get it grandfathered in. We custom ordered square, really nice oak treads. And then Liam came in here the other day and spent all day cutting these. And let me show you what kind of a nightmare this is. So you can see the shape that he's having to do on this. And then he's having to shape it on that round part over there. So he did a really nice job of it. Now, the risers are going to be painted white. And then yesterday I came in here and stained this. But let me explain something. The general contractor would have just left this raw wood and said, oh, the painters will do that when they come in. Well, look at out back. It is an absolute muddy mess. And I'm having to put boards down for contractors to walk on. They're coming in here. This place is just getting filthy. So what's going to happen? Now this happens on decks, flooring, and on stairs. When you have this red clay and it gets into this wood, I'm telling you, you can never get it to stain right. I'm just telling you. So I came over myself and I am staining these and putting a coat of poly on them, floor poly. Now, let's talk about the deck that's going out back. Most of your builders are going to build that deck and then they're just going to leave it. Well, it's going to rain on it. People are going to walk on it. No. So here's what I'm going to do. You can see it's all nasty out there. This is a corner. This is a corner that's not going to dry out. It's the sun rises over here, sets over there, and then there's trees. So it's never going to get down to really the right moisture percentage to stain it. So I told them, I said, I want you to order the KDAT boards. We're using KDAT, which is kiln dried after treatment. It's a pretty expensive wood. We're using KDAT lumber on the deck out here. I said, I want you to bring it up to my storage container and I'm going to put heat on it. We're going to dry it down below 12%. 12% is where you're supposed to be to stain. So I'm going to get the moisture level down below 12%, and then I'm going to have Ryan actually go pre-stain all those boards, pre-stain them up there, and then bring them down here and let them build the deck. There's no other way to protect that. You know, I can shut off people from walking on it, but it's still going to rain, it's still going to get wet. And I can tell you right now, my painting crews are good, but they're subcontractors. And so they say, okay, we're here to paint. And I'm like, no, you're not going to paint today. It's below 35 degrees, go home. I sent them home for 2 days. Sherwin-Williams paints, the majority of them are rated down to 35 degrees. And I told them, I said, don't bother coming out here unless it's above 35 degrees. So I'm going to break in here for a second real quick, and I'm going to talk to you, make an important point. This is where I want you to pick up a can of stain or pick up a can of paint. And I want you to read it. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to go to the manufacturer's website and I want you to read the specifications. I didn't know what temperature Sherwin-Williams paints were rated for until I went to their website and actually read an article about cold weather paint application, and that the majority of professional grade Sherwin-Williams paints are rated down to 35 degrees. I didn't know that. So get on the web, research your paint, and research your stains. So they waited 2 days, they came out, they painted the exterior, got up into the 50s, and now we're into the 60s. But these are just some little critical tips. Just think ahead, think a little bit. I'm telling you, your contractors will not think about this. Deck builders will not think about this. They're bringing out wood that's not dry. And most of you may not be able to do this. You may just have to wait and let it dry, but try and keep foot traffic off of it and try and protect any of that expensive wood. So today, excuse the darkness, here's this sunroom did not exist. This was actually a bay window right here, and this was double doors. So this whole new sunroom is all brand new and it overlooks the pond out there. The kitchen was nasty and we blew out all the walls in here. We put beams up in here. So we've opened up this kitchen. But we took out of the old doors. We got 2 nice doors with full glass on them. Today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a coat of floor poly on here. I think it's the water-based, fast-drying semi-gloss. And when you buy this, this is a professional formula, and it says provides a slight amber color. Now, there's another one out there that looks just like this, and it says provides a moderate amber color. So you want to make sure, what I prefer is get the one that doesn't change the color of your wood. I think these will be nice when they're done, so that's what I'm doing today, but protect your wood. So I figured I'd just show you what I'm doing here. So this is my technique. I've already sanded these. One thing about stairs is you don't want to sand them too smooth. You don't want them slippery. So I'm actually leaving grain in here, just a very light sand. Every step I'm going to wipe and make sure I don't have any dirt on it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my hard parts first. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to soak my corner real well, and then I'm going to get my edge. Make sure I get my edge really well. And then this area over here, and then up under here, which most people would forget to do, up underneath. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on a regular coat at first. I'm going to rub it in deep and make sure the whole stair gets a good coat. All right, now I'm going to do what I call my drench coat. I'm going to load up my brush real heavy. You'll see that white film on there. Now, I'm just going to very lightly run my brush over, and that drench coat will sort of fill up all the grooves, and it will settle down nicely. Just make sure you don't have any puddles. And that's it, pretty much. And I'm done. Ultra fast drying polyurethane, professional formula, semi-gloss, water-based cleanup, soap and water. I hook it down, wipe any dirt, make sure got a good coat under there, make sure I don't have any drips. And make sure I didn't miss any areas on previous. My edge. I always like to get the hard parts first, otherwise you'll forget them. Then do a normal coat. Rub in your normal coat. And then do your drench coat. Nice and heavy. Nice and heavy. If this was an oil-based, I would say do not do a real heavy drench coat. You're actually better off to do light coats. But since this is a water base, I actually like to do that drench coat. I think you can see the difference. This is varnished. This has the poly, and then no poly. And it really looks rich. So, if you watch my channel at all, you know that we've done a lot of staining. We have this fence here at the house. We have the fence at the beach house. We have all kinds of fences. We have all kinds of deck work. Here's what I want you to focus on. Your construction people are focused on getting a job done. They're not necessarily focused on the finer details. Trust me, I've been through enough renovation projects to understand this. This is where you sort of have to step in and take control, and that's on the finer details on the finishing. So if you're going to have a deck built, get some caution tape and say, sorry, everyone's going to have to go through the back door. Don't walk on my deck and don't get mud on my deck. If it's going to rain and the staining people are going to come out the next day and they're going to use an oil-based stain, no, you have to let it dry out. It's a real good idea to invest in a moisture meter. I've got a moisture meter inside my truck, and I can go up and I can touch it and I can tell you the moisture reading of any piece of wood on my property. Not a bad investment. Maybe I'll link to one down below. You know, they're probably like 40, 50 bucks for a nice one. Same thing when it comes to paint. You know, if you have to understand what they're using. Now, if you're using, like on this deck, on this wood here, we used one of the hybrid stains. Now, the hybrid stains, you do not have to worry so much about moisture levels, not as much as you do with an oil-based stain. It actually likes a little bit of moisture on the wood, and what it does is it actually slows down the drying and slows down the absorption, not the absorption, but slows down the drying, and it'll actually absorb deeper. If you put oil stain on top of a high moisture content, it's actually, that moisture is going to actually repel the oil-based stain. That's why I like the hybrid stain so much, is because you can actually put them on a higher moisture content. In fact, there's one stain out there. It says it doesn't matter. If it rained yesterday, you can go out and stain today. The Olympic hybrid stains, I believe it is. Anyways, so, and just a couple little tips for you. Watch your staining, protect that new wood, and especially like on a project where you're putting in like new stairs or new floors, keep people off that. Keep the muddy tracks off of it. Hit subscribe, and I got a bunch of stuff. We're going to do some deck underpinning. I'm going to do something a little bit creative out there. I got a guy out there working on it today. I wanted to do a little bit different look on my deck underpinning. Talk to you later. Doc.